Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tracking a truly incredible, high-stakes journey. We're following stolen Amazonian monkeys, victims of a massive illegal trade, and diving into the absolutely monumental, multi-year effort to get them back into the wild. It's a story filled with heartbreak for sure, but as you'll see, it's also one of immense resilience and ultimately hope. Let's get right into it.
So to really grasp the scale of what we're looking at here, we first got to ask a pretty huge question. Who is actually maintaining the vast, magical ecosystem of the primary Amazon rainforest? We often just think of the forest as growing on its own, right? But actually, it requires some serious active maintenance.
And, well, that brings us to our answer. Meet the woolly monkey. Now, this isn't just your average, agile, canopy-dwelling primate. This animal is absolutely essential to the equilibrium of the primary Amazon rainforest. Think of them as specialized acrobats, acting as the ultimate caretakers of this pristine wilderness. Without them, the forest simply cannot regenerate.
So what's the secret to their gardening? Staggering variety. By eating nearly 300 different types of plants and fruit, and then spreading those fertilized seeds across territory stretching up to 1,000 hectares, these monkeys literally plant the forest's future. It's like a giant puzzle. The woolly monkey and the forest are completely interdependent. If the primary forest gets cut down, the monkey disappears. But flip it around, if the monkeys disappear, the forest stops regenerating. It's that simple.
Section 1. The Wildlife Trafficking Crisis.
Sadly, this crucial ecological gardener is disappearing, and fast. It's due to a booming, ruthless, and incredibly lucrative illicit industry. Young monkeys, like a little female named Tuda, are meant to thrive high up in a 1,000-hectare canopy. But instead, their lives are stolen. They're ripped from their murdered mothers to be sold as living toys in filthy city markets, sometimes even dressed up in pajamas and diapers. It's just devastating.
And the impact of this? It's staggering. To put it into perspective, the woolly monkey population has plummeted by an astonishing 60% in just 15 years. This devastating wildlife trade ranks third globally, sitting right behind only drugs and weapons. We're talking about a massive, highly organized criminal enterprise here.
So, it's really crucial we understand the economics driving these stolen lives. Poachers sell a baby monkey for a quick 100 euros. Now, while that might not sound like a fortune to some, it's equivalent to a month-and-a-half salary in Peru. These trade routes, they're often controlled by drug lords, and the monkeys face horrific, deadly conditions. Packed into freezing, filthy markets in Lima, a lot of them die from the cold and disease before they ever even become someone's household pet.
Section 2. The Long Road Home.
Fortunately, there are a few incredibly dedicated individuals fighting back to give these survivors a second chance. We're talking about people like veterinarian Milagros Ramos, who intercepts these animals in Lima, and sanctuary founder Helene Colong. For a survivor like Toda, the journey back to her natural habitat is, well, it's an exhausting geographical saga. It starts in the Lima Vet Clinic, followed by a 1,300-kilometer flight to Tarapoto. Then they have to navigate chaotic roads used by the exact same traffickers who stole her, arrive at a halfway sanctuary, and eventually spend hours upon hours in riverboats just to reach a safe release site. Her first major stop on this crazy journey is the Terengue Sanctuary. It's a 70-acre remote paradise. But here's the brilliant part. It wasn't just built anywhere. Helene and her husband deliberately placed it right along a major smuggling route. This strategic move lets them intercept traffickers before they ever reach the city markets of Lima. But sanctuary founder Helene Colong puts the reality of all this into perfect perspective. She notes, it only takes a few minutes to capture a monkey. It takes years to prepare one to return to the wild. You see, saving the monkey from a cage is actually kind of the easy part. The real, grueling challenge, that's undoing the severe psychological and physical damage of captivity.
Section 3. Learning to be wild. At Terengo, traumatized former pets must literally be taught how to be monkeys all over again. And this rehabilitation process, it's completely meticulous. It begins with a strict quarantine to ensure health, then moves into gentle resocialization, usually starting with babies so the anxious adults don't feel threatened. After that, they introduce a natural diet and finally build up to actual canopy exploration so they can conquer their fear of heights. Take the case of Hector, for example, to understand exactly what they're up against. For 8 years, Hector was kept in a Lima apartment, completely cut off from his own species. His quote-unquote loving owners made him obese and diabetic by feeding him cream and birthday cakes.
I mean, can you imagine? To survive in the wild now, Hector has to totally rewire his brain and his biology. He has to learn to forage for protein-rich insect larvae in the forest, instead of just waiting around for a sugary treat.
You know, a monkey alone is no longer really a monkey. The real key to their recovery is the healing power of the pack. By carefully placing deeply insecure adults like Hector with confident babies and new companions like Tota, they slowly start to regain their natural instincts. They literally have to relearn the whole complex vocal language of their species. That's 3 distinct calls used to stay in contact, sound alerts, and signal territory.
Section 4. Hope in the Canopy. Okay, so once the monkeys are mentally and physically ready and they've formed a cohesive family unit, they face their final, triumphant step. But before they can be released, they need a safe home, and this relies completely on local indigenous communities. As Albertina of the Aguaruna community beautifully puts it, this forest is like a book. When you open it, it tells you things you must hear. Indigenous peoples just inherently understand the forest's deep, interconnected value in a way that traffickers simply do not.
And this mutual understanding led to a massive breakthrough. After months of relationship building, the Kokama-Kokamia people dedicated an astonishing 18,000 hectares of their territory specifically to protect these monkeys. Think about that. Former hunters actually swapped their weapons for active conservation roles, realizing they just can't live without nature.
Now, the scientific preparation for a release like this is staggering. Scientists rigorously survey this newly protected indigenous land. A single group of woolly monkeys requires a massive 500 hectares of space to thrive. They need tree canopies over 50 meters high to feel safe and establish dominance, plus a huge diversity of fruit trees. Basically, the land has to be absolutely perfect.
After years of preparation, back at the Media Luna release site, the breathtaking moment finally arrives. Hector and Tota are coaxed out of their pens. Now, because they were raised in houses, their very first instinct isn't to look up at the trees, it's to look at the humans for food. But slowly, tentatively, Hector makes his move. He grabs a branch and he begins to climb high up into the canopy, finally claiming his dominance and his true freedom.
Watching Hector bravely climb up into that canopy is such an incredible victory. It proves that damage can be undone, that we really can right our wrongs. But as we close this explainer, I want to leave you with a critical question. If it takes veterinarians, sanctuary founders, indigenous communities, scientists, and literally years of tireless dedication just to save one monkey, what will it take to save the Amazon itself? Think about that. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this incredible journey.